Luis lives in Brazil, and for the last 20 years, he's been homeless. He's lived out on the street. But he hasn't been alone. 6 dogs have decided to live with him, and he's taken them in, and he's taken care of them the best that he can. A couple of months ago, Luis suffered a stroke. And somebody who was passing by, driving or walking, I don't know, they saw him laying on the pavement, and they called an ambulance. And when the ambulance came in, they loaded Luis up into the ambulance, and they sped away toward the hospital. And that's when all 6 of the dogs who had been living with him got up on their feet and started chasing after the ambulance. And they followed all the way to the hospital. And when they got to the hospital and realized that they were not going to be allowed inside the front door, you know what they did? They laid down on the sidewalk right outside the front entrance. And that's where they stayed, all 6 of them, for the next 30 hours, until the next day, when Luis was released from the hospital, walked out the front doors, and discovered that he had friends who were going to be there for him no matter where he was, no matter how long he had been gone, no matter what kind of condition he was in. In other words, he found that he was loved. How many people in this world walk around, and by the way that they live their life, it seems like they've never seen such a thing? Or how many others walk around in this world afraid that they will never find the same thing, or convinced that they never would if anyone knew the truth about what kind of person they really are and about the kind of things that they really did? How many people live each day with hearts feeling cold and alone, as if there is no cross on which God is always waiting with his love, even when they took advantage of his kindness, even on the days when they pounded one nail in and then did it again. And even though he is a God who fully knows, even better than us, all the ways that we fail to show love. I alluded to this verse yesterday, but it's a verse that comes up in this section where the Apostle Paul says this very simply. He says, "Now I know in part, then I shall know fully." And here's the key phrase: "Even as I am fully known." We are fully known. We can't hide anything from God. He sees the inconsistency in our actions. He knows how often we do something that looks loving just so that we can get attention. And yet, whenever we walk out to the cross, what we see is a love that is always patient and kind and never self-seeking. A love that keeps no record of all of your wrongs that he has already forgiven. A love that certainly knows how hard it sometimes is to show love and promises that he will never fail to love you when that happens. And a love that will always be there waiting for you whenever you need to see it again.
Do you struggle to find time to connect with God? Well, click here to subscribe to our daily email. We'll make sure that you hear about God's promises, his love, and his amazing word.